Oh, you're sitting back
Colin
here.
will do that for you.
Oh, you can, you're good. I hit the wrong button. Christian Rural Overseas Program. Christian Rural Overseas Program. I know, that's what I'm thinking too. Christian yeah, M-O-R-R-I-S. It works. I'm not standing for that.
You guys, if you wouldn't mind, there's a camera back there.
Yeah, that's why I said you stand up and turn to the camera, make sure you show your sign. Yeah, those who don't miss the meeting can't see this on YouTube.
No, we love that.
Put them on YouTube.
Is there an hour?
Everybody stand for the pledge.
Thank you. I thought I was losing my mind.
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on the agenda is public. Want to do it?
Oh Lord, as we gather this day to do the important business for the people of the village of Owego, grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
Amen.
All right, public comment. Anybody have anything?
Yes, I do. My name is Sherry Dowling, speaking for the neighbors and constituents of Owego South Side. In connection with the zoning chart change of 19-acre tax map ID 1281615, neighbors are concerned for the safety, environmental, and economic risks that will cause not only neighborhood but constituents of Village of Owego.
Constituents?
Yeah, I know. Shared input for community members. Landscape will be distributed, taking away from the wildlife beauty of Owego, the bridge and picturesque views of our community. We take so much pride in. Not contributing to tax base creates burden on community. This should only be used to promote lasting opportunities for fiscal community well-being. Anticipated increased costs on schools. Anticipated increased costs on law enforcement and emergency personnel. Already outdated sewer systems. Sewer water already an issue with many of the homes in this area. No water. Runoff. Water runoff problems with current neighbors, flooding. Safety, no lights. Safety, no sidewalks. Safety, road repair from washout and no guardrails. Safety, increased traffic. Safety, entrance to Montrose Turnpike is dangerous and poor road viewing for the traffic. Low-income housing, less available resource to devote to improving and sustaining the property because it is not uncommon for property maintenance to respond. Also those to invest in their community. Safety, security an issue. Already current vacancies in local low-income sites. We take this seriously, and I thank you.
Sherry, can I have a copy?
I don't.
We can make a copy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Comment?
Jerry Houseworth, 110 Montrose Avenue. As this lady just spoke, this was brought up a week ago. And what I find most disalarming is nobody knew about it. Were there no notifications in our mailboxes, flyers about this coming down? I heard about it via the grapevine and find out a notice down here. So I see some of the people I've talked to, and I've gone around and explained the situation. And I'm glad everybody has come, as concerned as I do. Because it is a single family area. You can't take 19 acres and just arbitrarily change the zoning on it to make it multifamily, duplex homes, whatever we call it. I'm working with some people. We will be making a list that the developer, the economic board is going to have to answer. And we'll be submitting that to you shortly. And I want to thank the village for starting on some of the runoff problem we have on Montrose Avenue now. Part of it's fixing the sewer line and coming back up the road a little bit to do infrastructure work. Great job. Appreciate it.
No.
My name is Devonne Gray. I reside at 94 Southside Drive. And again, as Jerry indicated, we were surprised by this, especially because we take pride in our community. And coming over the bridge, that's not one view that we really want to invest in. It's one thing to be a property owner and take pride in that, but for low-income housing, unfortunately, the reality is that usually some people don't have the funds to do that or the personal investment to do that. There are other properties around here that we could invest in. Maybe an ad hoc community could be formed to revitalize these worn areas in our community. I think that's something that we worked hard as constituents, as Sherry put it, into our community. When you're coming over that bridge, is that what you want to see? It may look beautiful in the beginning, but 10 years from now, well, what we can see is go out to Barnes Creek Road. I don't mean to stereotype, but I think it's time that maybe our board members take a ride and look at some of these properties. And remember, that will represent Owego, the village.
P.S. I'd like to add that
I have no malice against the sisters or sellers of the property wanting to sell the property. I can fully understand them wanting to get out from underneath it. I just think we need, as a group and a village, to come to a better way of satisfying them wanting to get rid of it and what it ought to be used for.
I'd like to say something. Yeah, I live at 98 Southside Drive, which this place is gonna be right up behind my house. Behind my house is there's a big flat area, it's like a field, and there's all kinds of nature. There's deer come down, we have all kinds of, it's beautiful back there. And this thing's gonna come in, it's, number one, it's gonna wreck that, it's gonna basically destroy that, no matter what you do, it's gonna take away from that. There's a place where you can walk there. It's a beautiful spot. It just seems a terrible shame. If we're gonna do anything, a park would be the best thing for that area. Because it's such a nice area. Also, I wanna say about the sewer thing, we already have a sewer problem. We had to go and have a special vent put in because we were, when the state put in the pipeline for the sewer, they put in 3-inch pipe instead of 4-inch. So that caused a problem. And then we have development in our house. And with this new thing coming in, it's really gonna be a problem. It's gonna be a real problem. And also the smell. I've called about it before and, nothing gets done. They don't even maintain it at all, the sewer place there. It's gonna cause a lot of problems for people. It's probably going to be more problems than it's worth. And I don't really want to attack the women, the owners of the land. They've been nice enough to let us use the land, beautiful land. I just if it's going to go for something, I don't know. I'm also worried about the low income, the aspect of that. How's that going to affect the area, I understand people need places to live and all that, but I'm worried about it in a way. Like Debbie says, right now everything will be nice and wonderful, but 10 years from now, where are we going to be? How's it going to affect us later on? So I do have concerns about it. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Kurt Kimmerly. I was here a couple of planning board meetings ago about 118 Southside where I live and the breakout of the stream that's along between the apartment building and that's their wheeled gardens in my place. Since I've been here, and I got a lot of promises that people would look into that, I haven't heard a word from anybody, from Ken, or he said he'd call me back and let me know once Jeff was back from vacation and stuff. I've got 2 boulders sitting in the middle of that little stream that fell in because literally that stream is now 2.5 feet deeper than it used to be because of the diversion ditches that company put in to help their water situation into this creek that blew out into my side. Okay, so I've got bills for over $1,000 that I've sent to Rochester, no response. I'm trying to do everything without an attorney at this point. But when you change, and I don't know if I know everything about the law, but when you divert the water in natural streams and you cause a problem downstream to a neighbor, they're liable. So in my opinion, at least so far I need to have my bills taken care of, not to mention the 16 hours I spent on a backhoe to fix my problem and repair the driveways and get my tenants out of the parking lot. But there's nothing being done. There's still boulders sitting there, retaining walls that are now falling into that stream. And that last week we had some rain. It's going up and over those boulders and up and around, so which is going to now erode towards my building. So I'm still concerned about that. that's just one. The other concern is all the conversation we had during that planning board meeting with the water specialist, saying he's going to inject all the water from this mountain, where he's going to put a whole new facility in, another 80 some odd unit apartment, plus 6 buildings of townhouses. All those rooftops and the blacktop, that water has to go somewhere. I'm down below that. He says he's going to put it over here into the wetlands. But I'm sorry, but I didn't go to school like he did, but they're wet because it's over, the ground can't absorb that much water. So it's going to come downhill, and that's where I am. His ponds are empty in front of the existing building. So it's not working for him now. And I haven't heard anything back from either one of them or the company like they said they would. I sent them all the pictures that they asked for. You guys were here. They requested me to send them the pictures. I sent them the pictures of what had happened. I didn't even get a response like, thank you for sending the pictures. This is somebody who wants a second phase for this town. And I'm the neighbor. What recourse do we have if they go and do that, and we're going to have one road going up past wetlands that we got a variance for from the Army Corps of Engineers to make sure that our lifestyle in the next 20 years is going to be taken care of if some things go wrong. If they're not responding to this kind of simple little thing, that's what I want to know. You can okay all this stuff and keep asking people to put buildings in and doing all this stuff, but we're still left with a bag. And if they aren't responding now, how are they going to respond in 10 years? And the other thing with the new project being, the first project's 55 and over. The new projects, it's open to everybody depending on income. Just like the last gentleman said, I'm worried about that. I'm worried about the drugs. I'm worried about I'm just worried about the community all coming out of one road on one side of the hill. I talked to some people that's on the other side of the building that's built now, the first phase, that were affected by the first flood. And they're all ready to go. In my opinion, that company should buy them all out. So we have a secondary road going up to that new phase. So if there's a fire, I don't see how we're going to get multiple companies up there to attack a fire, and people that are up there, they're stuck one road. I don't see how that even can happen without having a variance from the backside from Strong Road or anything to be able to access that road. I'm going on different tangents, but these are just things that are going through my mind. So basically, I want to figure out how they're going to fix the original problem before they go into the new project. And I'd like to be paid for what I had to go through, and not asking for much because you can ask for damages too, but I'm not. I just want to be reimbursed for all the two triaxle loads of dirt I had brought in, plus the rental of equipment. So, thank you.
So Jeff is here now. I've talked to IDA, who actually owns the property that they want to build on. They were supposed to get back to me, and I haven't heard back. Kind of stuck in a hard, between a rock and a hard place, because really and truly, it's going to end up being a civil matter. The drainage system that they put in obviously isn't working, but it was approved by the DEC. So there's another avenue I can go to, I guess, is the DEC, and say, you guys said this is going to work, but it's not.
True, though, Jeff. As far as I know, the original plans, I had the original blueprints. Besides the wildflowers, that never happened. Those.
All drainage, it's called the SWIP, Stormwater Prevention Plan, gets approved by DEC.
But when they had the driveway ready to complete and ready for blacktop, we had a similar storm event, which washed out all their gravel that was prepped, ready for blacktop. all ended up on 434. Okay?
Yeah, I remember that.
During that time, they put diversion ditches behind their building that went from one side of the building to the other, went to the left and the right. That's why his driveway on the other side, on the left side, if you're looking at the building, left side of the building, was washed out, and why my creek, my little runoff stream, which 80% of the time is dry. I mean, it's a natural path from the Halstead development, and it really didn't get much water. Well, now I've got major trees that are hanging over that stream that the roots are exposed, probably 2/3 of the roots. And those trees are leaning towards my building, so my tenants are pretty worried that the trees are gonna, in the middle of the night while they're sleeping, on a windstorm that we get some pretty high winds, where these trees are rocking anyway, that are gonna fall in their place because of the amount of dirt that was undermined from how much water that was put into this little stream from those diversion ditches that are not on the blueprints. Those are not okayed by the, what you had just said, I'm sorry.
It's called a SWIP. It should have been, I mean,
But
so you're saying they installed
did that on an
diversion ditches
emergency
afterwards?
situation during a storm, and they left them there. During those times, they put hay bales and staggered them all the way down those diversion ditches, which all ended up on 434, and took out our drainage pipe down on the street, which, again, it took it out again, as you know,
Right.
because you had repairs. But, so those aren't in the plan.
So
They need to be locked, and things need to.
I would like to bring up the point that the village is kind of in a hard spot here, as far as I'm concerned. Because this is being driven by the Tioga County Economic Housing Development. And I talked to the girl, and she assured me all the water studies all been done, the traffic studies all been done, DOT approves it. Well, how come nobody's heard about it? Where's the study? I certainly haven't seen it. I know the public hearing on October 1st, somebody better have all that stuff in front of them. And he makes a perfect example of what happens when you build infrastructure not to code. You know, he's a fireman, he brings up a good point. I remember when they were building it, I never saw a firewall in that place. It's all stick construction. I don't know if these townhouses that they're putting in over here in south side of the proposal. Last I knew, a townhouse had to have a firewall in between. Isn't that our codes? So, it says it's supposed to meet codes and assured me it's all right, but we've already got an example of how it isn't. Created different runoff problems, already hardship for existing village residents that have been here before that came. That's where I'm at, that's where we're all at. Because it impacts every village resident, these projects, as she pointed out. It's infrastructure, financing, plowing, you know how it all goes. So think about it before we get the cart out of the horse, and there's a gentleman right here that's going to be more impacted than anybody. And if you look where that development is, there's a huge ravine. As Kurt points out, he had a little creek. Well, I can assure you, the ravine where the driveway comes out for this proposal is over my head. It's taking care of all the water that's coming out.
There's a pile of gravel there, you could fill it, the building with it, it comes down every time it rains. Send it to the end of my driveway.
And that's all taking care of that hill right now. Because at one time, that was not woods. It was a potato field. So I know there's kinds of draining already hidden in that hill. And when you just go in there and flat bulldoze it, it's never the same. It's different when you're building single-family houses on a lot that's approved and built to code on a lot. You know, you have to do the dig studies, the drainage studies. Well, one house is a whole lot different than a housing development with a road with 20 units on it. Thank you for listening.
The best I can do about the ditches that they put in is I'll get with the DEC, we'll go up there and see what's going on and go from there. Really and truly, I don't have any jurisdiction as far as the SWIP and the drainage goes, but if I can get them up there, get the guys that do, to go up there and see what's going on.
Jeff Benton put the retaining wall in the creek 8 years ago to keep the erosion from going into the house and into the building if it ever was to happen. I thought it was ridiculous at the time. You know, I said, I mean, because it trickles, and once in a while we get a big rainstorm, that's not a problem. But when I saw those boulders going in, now I have a problem, and I can't reach those boulders on my side, because I only have 3 feet from the building to be able to reach over. It has to be on their side. At that time, when he built that building wasn't there, it was just a field, so he drove his thing in and put it all in from that side. So I'm hoping there's something that somebody can do to tuck those back into place at least, and have somebody look at those trees. Not only because I want to give the tenants some sort of assurance that that people who know what they're doing say those trees are going to be fine, and it's going to be another 30 years before you even have to worry about that.
Right.
As far as the new construction goes, I'm all for it. Like I told at that planning board meeting when the water guy was there giving his big display, and I let him talk, and he said all that happened during the storm was sticks and stones in his grates. Okay, I mean, it's a big con. He wants you to rubber stamp this thing so he can get this thing going. When you're dealing with wetlands and you're dealing with that much progress, of course they wanted to go. They're a big company. They wanted to happen quick. And I don't mind having all this new stuff going around me at all. And I said that to him. But I want it done right. And he said, oh, new regulations, even in the last 3 years, have come about. Well, we got to fix the old problems first. When they've got runoff grates that are on the high side of the driveway, and the rain comes down, and they can't even hit it before it goes down with the shoes. I mean, everybody knows it's like even the water slide with kids, you're going to pass the least resistance. How are we going to fix that? Because their ponds stay empty. There should be no reason why those ponds are empty if everything's working good. So how can they be given the okay to do this new project without fixing the original project? And then my big concern is one road going up to that new project. As far as I used to be first lieutenant at Southside Fire Station, but no longer. But doing that for so many years, I significantly get the potential of problems with 6 buildings plus one huge apartment building with one road access and with a stick building. I mean, it's all built out of wood. Now, there's no metal in that building. There's no division, firewalls in between each building. Once one goes, it's going to start going. How do we contain that when we're trying to orchestrate? He said during the meeting that they have a plan where they get back up into the townhouse parking lots and all lined up in a row. Meanwhile, people are hanging out of the building as the building's burning. I don't even get how that thought process is right without having. I have a building. I need 2 exits. You would think the same thing with a project this size. You need two exits, and then the new. I don't want to keep talking. Sorry. The new project that has come up tonight. We give everybody around here just tax abatements for a week. Is this a tax abatement situation? Does anybody know? Is this project going without taxes? What do we get out of the village? What do we get in return for allowing this company to come in to build these homes so we can maintain a brand new road, to plow this road, have the liability of this road, to have the fire construction, or fire hydrants, all this maintenance that we have, and we're not getting anything in return. What does the village get to be able to get? And that's what I'd like to know. What do we get in return for this kind of project that's going to happen over at Montrose Turnpike, or might happen? Anybody have any comments on that? the IDA, I thought, in my opinion, was set up to attract businesses for employment. Okay, so we give Best Buy, they come in, you know, and hopefully in 20 years when their tax abatement's up, they're gonna still stick here and not just abandon the place and start over in another sucker town and leave it empty, like we do up at out in Cornell or in Corning. We have, we give 20-year tax abatements to hotels here in WeGo. When he was going to build that building anyway, in my opinion, in Potter, during his day. You know, he was going to build that anyway. He wanted the money, he wanted to bring the generals in, the helicopter project, the whole bit, but now we just hand him 20-year tax abatement. I mean, he didn't share much with new employment. What does this project do for the IDA to allow this to happen, to bring new economic growth to this area? So that's what I'd like to know. What do we get out of it, and where's the growth for WeGo? Before we vote on it.
Anybody else?
Well, I just want to add that me as a resident, I am, along with all the other residents, concerned with what type of people our village attracts. The title low income, we tend to use as a moniker, as a metaphor for undesirables. Don't want no undesirables in our town. My focus, being elected, was to rid this town of undesirables, the drug problem, epidemic. So, anything, I mean, I started out as low income. Sometimes in this day and age, I still feel like low income because income coming in is low. And it's hard to live. Some people need a place to start. Not everybody is undesirable. Some people have pride in the way they live. So to want to keep a place beautiful, who knows, we may attract those people that feel the same way. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I'm against before. Any way this goes, that's my focus, is to make sure there's no undesirables that come in. We don't need them.
Okay, I thought it was I feel the same way as you.
We all agree.
I'm a massage therapist. You can't get lower and work as hard as I do for the amount of money I make a year. But the money I make a year, I do invest back into my life. Okay, so
It's
I
ownership.
get low income, and I have a lot of friends who have low income. And it's not about low income. It's the assistance program. It's the people who are wandering around this town. It's the meth problem. And when you have an 80-unit building, then we have 55 and over in a structure on scale of income and what you can, on the first project, who can qualify for each apartment and how much it would take to get into each one. Now you're dealing with the open public. And are those assistant programs, and what are these people doing? I mean, are we just bringing more people in to cost this county more money because we're just a hub of help for people? Now it's great. My sister's handicapped out in LA, and I take care of her, and she's got fetal alcohol syndrome, and I keep telling her to come out here because there's so much more help out here than there is in California for her, because she couldn't deal with the sun. But, so I get the situation, but we don't need it to be the blanket for everybody. I totally agree.
I'd like to add too, I'm a social worker, and I work with all various populations. And again, back to what I said earlier about revitalizing our community. It's one thing to take pride in home ownership. Take a drive around. Look at the homes that could benefit from that. Or are they scared? The taxes are egregious in our community. For a good reason, we invest in our schools, in our community, in our personnel. But maybe that's where we should be investing our attention in. Maybe we could offer, no malice to these sisters who'd like to sell their property, maybe we can come up with something more creative. Again, an ad hoc committee to look into this, something that would benefit the community as a whole. It's a beautiful location. Imagine weddings over the bridge. Imagine a beautiful park that doesn't flood, okay? That you could watch nature and take pride in our community. Let's begin there, right in the village.
Got a lot of parks already, and they're pretty nice, but, you know, it's a step in the right direction. There's room for it still being single-family housing, I believe, and being used for the right thing, without going all the way over one end, just because it is a welcome community. I mean, I've been 32 years where I live, and I own 2 pieces of property, and it's scary the amount of taxes I pay. And, you know, I made a comment to a couple of these people I've met. I retired a year, July 11th. What do you do? What does most people do here? I'm up at 5 o'clock, I'm on the road at 5:30. I went to Towanda for 25 years. I get home at 6:30 or 7. I don't see what goes on all the time. Then I don't even get a thing in the mail that tells me about it. So in 32 years, yeah, there's been some village interactivity and things like that I've been concerned about, and one on Canal Road, which all got straightened out by, as it should. But, you know, you're gone. And you don't see it in the paper. Heaven forbid that one of them news stations would mention it, that would just turn on the lights to somebody around here, you know. It's a little scary. You know, when you live in the smallest, coolest town in America, and I come across the bridge and I see a guy laying on the street with 3 tattooed people laying over him and he's shaking, I'm going, oh, that's just what I want to see when I come into the coolest town of Owego. And I'm not making